welcome to the Comfort Zone. I'm Sheryl Corriveau,
And I'm Paula Sullivan.
and today's guest is.
Jacques.
So, hi! Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks.
So, Jess, tell us if you don't know, if no one knows who you are, can you talk about a little
Yeah.
bit of what you're doing in the community?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm the owner of JTB Yoga and Wellness and also JTB Hair and Spa. So they're separate but similar businesses. We share a parking lot. It's not that. So yeah, I mean, I manage the place. We're basically just doing a lot of work about getting people connected to their bodies. That's kind of like my mission in life. But we offer all kinds of different yoga and group fitness classes and massage therapy at the studio. And then at the salon and spa, we have all kinds of hair, skincare, and stuff like that.
Jess, you do so many things.
Mm-hmm.
So, I believe you started with massage.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Right? Did you have a vision for JTB, or did it just sort of?
Yeah.
How did that even happen?
Yeah. So what happened was I started out doing massage and I got really busy and I was a new mom at the time. And it's interesting because I have a 6-year-old son, Nolan, and he's amazing, but it's interesting the parallels between how my business has grown and how he's grown, because I've only been working in this field for that length of time. So I finished massage school right before he was born, and then I just was trying to pay my bills and, live my life and try and have an identity outside of being a mom at the time. And it just got super busy to the point where, I was crazy. I would do sometimes 10 massages in a day.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was way too much. way
That's
too much.
crazy.
But at the time I felt like it was what I needed to do. And I was just sort of in that mindset of just feeling like I had to work hard to prove something to everyone outside of me and to prove to myself that I could handle it. And, just trying to do everything and really like kind of crumbling and falling apart emotionally. But I also wanted to find ways for my massage clients to feel like they actually could be their own best healers. And I say that a lot in my classes and stuff now. Just getting people connected to the source within themselves, and realizing that, you can have the best massage therapist, the best yoga teacher, the best Pilates instructor, whomever you're connected with. But if you're not giving that to yourself, then you're just going to constantly be searching for the next best thing, and kind of missing the point. So because of my schedule, because of this mindset of like, oh, like people should kind of be responsible for their own bodies, I started to just kind of put out to the universe, like, I want someone to teach yoga classes. I wasn't even certified to teach at the time. So a good friend of mine started coming in. We would move all the furniture out of the room. It was a tiny room that I had in Douglas, and we could fit at most 8 mats. So we would do that 2 nights a week. And that's where it started, really. And then someone came in and introduced me to the property where we are now. And I was like, sure, I think I can handle going from like 300 square feet to 4,500 square feet, no problem. So I actually was meeting with the property owner this morning, and I was saying that I feel like I just was a child at that point, in so many different ways. But I've just gone from being like, okay, like this is meant to be, and just feeling like it was aligned, but also not having a strong sense of purpose in any aspect of my life at the time. And then kind of transitioning to where I'm at now, which is completely living very intentionally and just kind of focusing on different aspects and how to be a better business owner, how to be a stronger individual, and just taking all the lessons as they come. Because, if you don't learn them, they just keep coming. So
true.
Yeah, so I think initially, no, I did not expect to ever be where we are now in this huge space, and just touching so many different people and different walks of life and stuff throughout the day, throughout the week. But I just have no doubt that this is where I'm meant to be. So I really love what I do so much.
I love that. I love that. And I teach there.
Mm-hmm.
I teach Pilates in Pio, and it's a gorgeous space.
Thank you.
And I know that it's touching a lot of people, and everybody just, they walk in and they feel so good. And the energy that you bring, I think it's pretty impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, that's actually been kind of the best thing about my business, and something that happened completely organically, is the whole sense of community. And, you know, I'm reading all these books, and I'm wanting to just kind of like make sure that I'm focusing and I'm not spreading too thin and things like that. And so I have a group page for anyone who comes into the studio or the salon, and I just posted what makes this business unique from other similar businesses that you may have been to before. And I don't know why I wasn't expecting this, but overwhelmingly so many comments about the community, feeling like people belong somewhere, feeling welcomed when they come in. And that was huge for me. I was so happy to hear that, and just so surprised by it. You know, I was thinking it would be something maybe more specific to the services that we actually offer, but instead it's just this kind of like big pulsing community. So it's a really nice
That's
thing.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so great that people are working on themselves, and it's such an individual thing, you know.
Yeah.
But to know, and sometimes when you're working on yourself, you can almost feel so isolated, you know.
Yep.
And so to have a community like that is great.
Yeah.
So what kind of books are you reading? Can I ask?
Oh,
Like, what
sure.
are you-
Yeah.
I was thinking that too.
Well, I read like for different aspects of like my life and personal development and stuff, but I've been like on a real kick for kind of professionally growing. So I'm reading a book called Traction that was recommended by another business owner. It's an amazing tool. And I just finished reading The Power of Habit, which I really enjoyed.
Love that.
You've read
And
that?
That is so
Oh,
interesting.
I thought it was awesome. I've been waiting to find someone else who's read it so I could
blows
talk
me
about
away.
it. Yeah.
I know, I loved it. Yeah, even
Yeah.
just in the beginning when they were talking about, was it Febreze?
Mm-hmm.
Just things like that. It's
Yeah.
so, yeah. And it all comes down to really, which, you know, my book is about, your book is about, is, you know, our subconscious minds, our programming, the beliefs we have, and, you know, the habits are all part of it, you know, and so I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think related to kind of what I do and what we offer at JTB, that it's really developing good habits. It's developing habits on how to be in your body, how to, you know, commit to moving in your body, to experiencing your body, because we are so much up here and like so cerebral. And I think particularly as women, our minds are constantly thinking about things, feeling things, thinking about feelings. So you can have one feeling and then have like 500 thoughts about that feeling. And we just sort of like get into this headspace and just kind of wondering like how our behaviors are affecting other people, how we're being perceived, all of those things. So just to really spend like, you know, 30, 45 minutes, an hour, in a group fitness class setting, it's like you're having a truly present experience in your own body with, you know, 15 to 20 other people who are doing the exact same thing. And I think that's really where the community building happens, just like being present with somebody. You know, how often do you try and have a conversation with someone and they're just looking at their phone and glancing back? And it's hard, you know, we have a lot that we have to manage. So to just like give that to yourself and then share that with other people, it's pretty magical.
And I think I want to ask about this anyway. But you're constantly growing and investing in yourself, and you just came back from Maui.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
That sounds nice.
Yeah.
And I saw you briefly, and you were like, it's like the Heart Chakra Center. Can you talk a little bit more about that and what it did for you?
Yeah. So I went to Maui. I just got back last week. And I was there I think I was there probably about 9 days plus travel. It's a long flight. So I understand why people don't go there much. But having said that, it's the best place I've ever traveled to. And I love to travel. It's a thing that kind of comes and goes in my life. prior to this trip, it was 3 years ago, I went to Uganda and Rwanda. So I'm like, I like those adventure type trips. In Maui, I was there as part of a yoga retreat, but primarily spending a lot of time just with one friend, going on all kinds of adventures. And she's so lovely, and the environment is so lovely. And really, though, the thing, I was just telling someone else, people keep asking me about the trip, and I'm like, I don't even really know what to say about it, because I just feel like I can't adequately express how wonderful it is there. It's just a feeling of just like, like everything is just okay. And it sort of feels like the energy of the earth there. But that's what Sheryl was referring to. Maui is called the heart chakra of the world. So
That's so
I
cool.
mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty amazing. And so when you're there, it's like, oh yeah, like I didn't know that before I went on the trip. And then one of the yoga instructors said that, and I was like, yep.
I'm gonna Google that. That's so interesting. I want to like read more about it.
I want to as well. I haven't done that yet.
The origin, and it's pretty wild.
But it feels just so beautiful. And I think maybe going on vacation can just be really refreshing and rejuvenating in general. And I really needed that. But that specific like geographic place there were so many wonderful things about it. I'd highly recommend if you can get there, definitely put it on the list.
That sounds great.
I think too, because you're an entrepreneur and you have many hats, that there has to be that unhooking.
Yeah.
Do you agree? Like mentally, for our mental well-being, to constantly be at the grind, you almost need some perspective, would you say?
Definitely, yeah. And I think that's actually where we find our most creative space. So, as a business owner, I have a structure of my business, but I'm lucky enough, or maybe I've structured it in a way that it's a wellness center. So we're focusing on inner transformation first. And then along came the salon and spa, where we're more external beauty kind of thing. So inner and outer beauty. But there's a lot of room in there for me to change things up, to add services, to shift our focus, to, just play a little bit. And I think that's another thing that we lose. As adults, we don't really play that much. We don't really dance. We don't really have fun like you do when you're an uninhibited little child. So for me, when I go away, it's getting reconnected to that child self and feeling just kind of like, oh, I don't have this burden. Because no matter what you do, no matter how beautiful the environment is or what industry you're in, sometimes it's just running a business, and it's a lot like running any kind of business. So it can get stressful, just like anything else. So unplugging, finding that freedom, and getting reconnected to my why was really, really good for me. And it was like really good timing. So
Absolutely.
So I'm guessing, so when I met you and I saw that you own the business, you're young, you now bought the other business. So I'm guessing there's always been this little adventurer in you, right? Have you always had, I think you've always had this probably, right? This kind of, did you have fears? Have you had to conquer fears and obstacles?
Yeah, of course. So I think, I don't know that I was always very driven. And I don't know if it's that kind of like Puritan thing we have in us in this area, like being hardworking, like, so there's a little bit of that. My parents were always super supportive and wanted me to excel. So some of that, I think, starting out anyway, I wanted to like show everybody that I could do it. But now, I think, what was your, like, reverting back to
So I could tell you always had this, you just have this kick-ass
fear
kind
and
of,
stuff.
I can do it. But have
I'm
you
so
ever
glad you just
had-
said that. I'm like, don't swear, don't
Oh
swear,
no,
don't
you
swear.
be real.
The whole drive over, I'm like, don't.
Right.
This is not the comfort zone. We're out of the comfort zone here.
Yeah, So like I said, when I first moved into the new space where we are now, it was a huge jump. And I felt it was like I knew it was a huge jump, but I also wasn't processing it like that. I was still just on that grind, just like work hard, make money, you can make this happen. Now it's a completely different perspective for me, and it's more about why do you do this? Why do you love it? Don't lose sight of that. So even, the class formats that we offer and stuff like that, any services that we're offering, if I don't love it, it's not going to stay on the schedule. It's not going to stay part of my business, because there has to be support energetically from me as the owner. It doesn't mean that I have to go to every class or whatever, but I have to be behind it. And I really am. Like every single thing that I do, I'm like, I think that I have, really amazing instructors, massage therapists, esthetician, hair, anyone that comes in under the umbrella, while they're very fiercely independent, I 100% support their decisions and, their classes and whatever they're offering. So I think another thing I wanted to touch on is just going back to that cerebral thing. So you guys probably know a lot of creative thinkers, people that have really great ideas that they want to share, and maybe even they do. Maybe they talk about these great ideas and you're like, wow, that's so creative. That's like a really amazing thing. But it sort of becomes intangible. So lots of people will have like these ideas that they are, whizzing around in their head or they're talking about, but a lot of times it doesn't like come through all those chakras and get down. So where you're like, oh, I have to spend money or I have to, take a risk. People don't like to take risks. And I think that has been kind of why I've been successful. I just like pull it down and like, I just do what it takes to manifest, because I can see it. I make sure I sit with things. I make sure that it's aligned with, my vision and that I feel like it's authentic. And then I'm like, okay, we're going to go down there. We're going to dig into that fear.
No,
We
I love
both
that.
have practices
Yes.
of all of this stuff. So can you share, what is this? Does it look like? Are you visualizing? Are you journaling? Are you meditating? What gets you into that? Where you can kind of...
Yeah, so I'm a pen and paper kind of girl. So for me, it's always writing things out, journaling. If I'm really sitting with something, I'll just try and just pay attention and just be more mindful to literally anything that I'm ingesting. So I'll try and be mindful about things that I'm actually choosing, like what podcasts am I listening to, what music am I listening to, what am I reading, who am I spending time with, because I tend to get messages just very organically, and it can be, one sentence in a 90-minute podcast. That's like, that's it. That's what I needed, but I'm constantly writing things down. I prefer to write, like I said, pen to paper, but sometimes I just constantly have notes in my phone because sometimes I just don't have access to actual paper. But yeah, so journaling is a big part of it. And actually physical movement, I find that to be where I get some of my most clear thinking, because I'm not thinking. So it's sort of after that space. So when I like move through the physical body, our bodies are designed to move. So when I'm feeling really as though I've done a particular workout that speaks to my body and where I'm at in that time, and it does shift what's working for you and what's not. I'll find that kind of after that, once I get the stuff moving in the physical plane, then the energetic space opens as well. And that's when I feel like I kind of like, okay, yes or no.
So. I love this. And, I love the word manifesting. You're not afraid to use that, talking about energy. Because, manifesting is one of those words that it's almost taboo. Oh, that's, for the mainstream, most people, that word is fluffy, is out there, is for tree huggers. It's for people,
Oh, no, I definitely...
But do you know what I mean? For most people, that word manifesting is got a negative kind of, connotation to it,
Yeah.
and I hope it becomes more mainstream. Things like visualization, affirmations, our mindset, our subconscious mind, our energy, our vibration. I hope all of this becomes more, because it's just the way we operate. It's how we are. But people are just, a lot of people just don't know about these things.
Yeah.
And they have a negative connotation about them.
Yeah, I've heard that actually more recently, because I actually was unaware that manifesting was like one of those things, like, oh, people don't say that, or it's not
Yeah.
cool to say, or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think it's so important to distinguish that it doesn't mean like you're just like downloading something from the
Right.
universe or God or whatever your belief system is.
Yeah.
It's sort of about having like that active spirituality. So you're doing the things, you're living your life, you're being healthy in your body, in your mind, in your spirit, and then you're taking action on these great ideas that you have.
Yeah,
And
that's a
that's
great
what
way to describe
manifesting
it,
is.
right.
It's not just like, oh,
Yes.
like I was given this gift,
Right.
Well, it's
There's
almost-
more to it.
Yes.
It's like you get the intuition, and that's from like the feminine, the intuition, and then the masculine energy is like taking it out. But I think it's important when it comes from that intuitive place,
Yeah,
and then the action happens.
definitely.
But I feel the same way. I feel like we manifest. Well, that's what our books are about too. Like we're manifesting everything all of the time, and just as much as what we're creating, I feel it's equally as important to know what you're not available for, and to make that conscious choice. Are there anything that you like have decided in your mind like you are not available for? Within terms of like moving in one direction, like I'm very much about like negativity. I'm just not available for it. I don't vibe with it. I don't attract it.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I love that. I've heard you say before too, oh, you have a cold? I do not accept
I don't
that.
receive that. Yeah, I don't receive that. I say it all the time. But the truth is I say I never get sick, and I never get sick. And I feel like they're, like you said too, people are unaware. And they'll say, "Oh, it figures, it happens to me," or and I'm
yes.
just kind of like super aware of what we speak.
That's really irresponsible energetically. Yeah. Yeah. I know that sounds harsh, but you're like, oh yeah. No, I believe that. Like I stand by that statement. I think, you have to be, so you're manifesting whether you say you're manifesting or not. And if you're living your life unintentionally, you're manifesting stuff that you maybe don't want in your life. So, if you're constantly like in that energetic plane of like, this is always happening to me, or, kind of whatever, or I'm always sick, or I'm always this or that, then it's just perpetuating that kind of field. So I don't want to go like down that rabbit hole too much, but I think in terms of what am I not allowing in my life in relation to the business, that's one thing I have been very intentional about all along. So I don't allow any clickiness, any negativity, any competition. It's a very supportive environment, and that carries through, and I just don't stand for that at all. And I say, oh, I'm like such a hard ass about that, but I actually don't even have to be. It's just happened because it's embedded in the instructors that I bring in the massage therapists that I bring in the way that our staff communicates, in the emails, and every single thing is just sort of like in the system, so that people know what's expected, and that's how we're vibing. So I guess that's what we're bringing in.
That's great. It's such a different environment than most companies and most workplaces.
Yeah.
And it's just great. Yeah. Yeah, it's nice. So can I ask you, so say a woman she's at home, she's never taken a yoga class, she's frustrated, she's stressed, she's angry, she's just, but where could she start at JTB Wellness? What would you advise someone, just an average person who's just never gone to a wellness center? How could you, what would you suggest that they start
I love
with?
that question, because I actually get that phone call almost every single day.
Do you really?
Yeah,
That's great.
or email. So what What I always say is so we offer $10 for 10 days unlimited for the classes. So it can only be purchased at your first class, and then it's just $10. You can come to any class on the schedule for 10 days. So I always suggest that. But if you're not sure where to start out, just call me. Myself or Karen can answer any questions that you have over the phone. Come in, schedule a time to just come in. I'll show you around. That usually is a big help for someone who's never taken a group class before. But I would say we have some gentle yoga classes on the schedule on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at 7 p.m. And those are a great place for someone to start if you're just kind of getting used to moving your body a little differently than what you do every day. And then we have beginner workshops and classes all the time too. So, but just pick up the phone, send me an email, whatever you prefer, and we can just have you come in when no one's around, and that really breaks the ice. So the hardest part is always just walking up those stairs and coming in.
Yeah, that's great.
So how can people find you?
Okay, so the website is a great place, jtbwellness.com. Lots of information on there. We're on Instagram at jtbwellness, at jtb hair spa, and Facebook, JTB Yoga and Wellness, JTB Hair and Spa. You can just look me up, Jessica Jacques, friend me. You can find all the stuff there. Yeah.
Awesome.
Sounds good. And we'll have all her information on our Facebook page and on our YouTube channel too. We'll have her contact information and her address.
Yes, and like and subscribe to our channel.
Yep, The Comfort Zone. We're on Facebook and we're on YouTube right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, The Comfort Zone.
Awesome. Well,
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. This
Yeah,
was
that
great.
went by so fast.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know,
And
we
I'll
could
see
keep
you again
talking.
because I'm teaching Kyle
Tonight,
later.
yeah.
Well, thanks for watching The Comfort Zone this week.
Yes. Until next time.